Hello guys, welcome to the another Python refresher session. In this session, we are going to look into another type of collection type, that is tuples. So what is tuple? A tuple is similar to list. The difference between the list and the tuple is we cannot change the elements of a tuple once it is being assigned. Whereas if we are using list, then it allows us to change the element of the given position. So we will look into this example once we understand that how to create tuples. So next topic we will look into how we can create tuples in Python. So it is pretty much straightforward. Whenever if you are using parenthesis and assigning into a variable, then that variable become tuple. So what it means? So for example, if you are having a fruit ball tuple, and if you are having a parenthesis and shift enter, then this object become tuple. So you can check the type. So how you can check the type? Write print type, and within that I am going to print fruit ball tuple. Shift enter, then you will find that it has returned us this object is a class type tuple. So now if you will put anything within this bracket, then that is an element of that particular tuple. So let's assign it. Let's copy this one, and we are going to assign the same fruits, that is apples, oranges and grapes. Let's print that. Print fruit ball tuple. Shift enter, we have spelling mistake, then you will find that it has given us the tuple. Tuple also allow us to access the element through indices. So what it means? So you can access individual element through indices. So here if you will specify 0, just copy this one, comma 1, comma 2, shift enter, then you will find that it has returned each individual element. So let's look into one by one. So if you will accessing like this, then it will return the element which is at position 0. So now let me contradict one of my point which I have mentioned earlier. Whenever if you want to create a tuple, then you should put into the parenthesis. It is not like that. Suppose if you are having a variable called fruit ball tuple 1, and if you are assigning any comma separated value without the parenthesis, then it become tuples. So let's look into that. Suppose that if I am having some other fruit, peach, banana and pineapple, shift enter, then you will find that if you will print the type of tuple 1, fruit ball tuple 1, then you will find that it is a tuple, and that we have created without using the parenthesis. So see here, now coming back to the definition which I have told you earlier, that once you have assigned any of the value at particular position, and if you want to override that value with some other value, tuple will not allow that. That is not permissible, as tuple is a immutable object. So let's look into that. Suppose that within the fruit ball tuple 1, instead of peach, I'm going to assign avocado. For example, it is at position 0 and I want to assign avocado and shift enter, then you will get the error. Why? It is telling that tuple object doesn't support item assignment. So this is what I mentioned at the very beginning of this topic. So now let's look into some interesting fact of tuple. Suppose that if you are having a tuple and that we can tell that fruit basket and that contains a list. For example, you are having a list where first set of fruit is, for example, apple, comma, banana, comma, oranges, and the second set of list within the tuple is having another set of fruits. Let me copy that so it would be easy, and over here I will put it. Over here I will put that, and for banana I will change something, avocado. So now I am having a tuple called fruit basket that contains two lists. Shift enter, let's print it. I will tell you the trick over here, and one contradictory thing which I wanted to showcase. Shift enter, then you will find that we are having a tuple which contains two lists. Now suppose if you want to change this particular element of this particular list, then you can do that. So let's look into that. For example, if you want to do the change, then you can access that element through indices. you want to access 0th element of this particular tuple, and you want to access 0th element of this particular list, and you want to assign one value, new value, and you are going to assign grapes, then it is allowable. So let's look into that. Now let's print, and you will find that it is being changed over here. So in summary, what we understand that if you are having a mutable object within tuple, that you can reassign it, but tuple itself is a immutable. If you try to reassign the value, then it is not possible. For example, if you try to reassign some new list, for example, if you try to access this, and if you want to reassign it with some new fruits, I'm just typing some other values over here, sorry for that. To showcase that example, I wanted to show you. So now if you try to access this, so this will not get inserted as tuple is a immutable. Shift enter, so you will get the same error which we have already seen earlier in this session. So now if you want to access each of the individual element, so you can do that through the loop as well. So you can use for, and you can specify fruit in fruit ball tuple, and over here you will print it, or whatever you want to do, whichever operation you want to perform, you can do it. So let's do it. So let's access each individual fruit and convert it into uppercase and shift enter. Then you will find that we have accessed each individual element which exists within this tuple, and then we have converted their spelling into uppercase. So tuple is also one of the mostly used collection type whenever we are doing data analysis. So that's the reason I have introduced within Python refresher section, so that you also aware about this object. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate over here. In the next session, we will look into one of the important concept of Python, that is functions. So on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.